He loves life. He is one of the happiest little boys I've ever known. I once heard somebody say something about somebody else, but this is what I think about David. He's the happiest sick person I know.
Luke looks at himself like anyone else, like he's not any different. He has a great personality. He always smiles and makes us laugh. You would be my favorite one.
We have learned so much from Patrick. One of the biggest lessons that I've learned is that you can't take life for granted. He loves life. And so we're doing all we can to give him every opportunity.
David was born 3 months premature, and he developed a disease called necrotizing enterocolitis, and had to have over half of his intestine removed surgically. It was just so tiny. It was a really scary ordeal for us, and we didn't know if he was going to make it through. We didn't realize that surgery like that could be performed on a baby so small. And we had no idea what we were getting into. We spent 4 months in the NICU with David. He came home for 2 days and developed an illness and had to go back into the hospital for another 2 months. He's on TPN for 16 hours a day. At first, I was terrified. I remember almost requesting to just keep him in the hospital. I remember thinking, I can do this for a few months, a couple of weeks, that we can get through it for just a few weeks, that it was just temporary. I had no idea that this was going to be possibly a lifelong thing for him. Until I took on the attitude that this was part of his life, it was a really difficult thing for us. It's really changed how we see life. If it wasn't for Home TPN, we wouldn't have our little David, and we're so thankful for it.
Luke needs TPN because he was born with something called chronic intestinal pseudo-obstruction, and his bowel acts like there's a physical obstruction, but there is not an actual obstruction. The nerves don't work in his bowel. When Lucas was born, he did not pass the first bowel movement, and that night he turned blue in the NICU, and pressure from not going to the bathroom collapsed his lungs. And they did further testing and found out that his bowels were not working. I'll never forget sitting in the room when the resident came in and told us that our son probably wouldn't live to be more than a year old. I was shocked. It was really hard to realize that my son was going to have to live on total parental nutrition for the rest of his life, but Lucas has beat the odds. He's done well, his liver's done well, and he's amazed the doctors, so we're happy.
Patrick has short bowel syndrome, which means that he's missing most of his intestine.
Before he was born, Patrick's intestines developed incorrectly, and that allowed them to twist and die. They lost their blood supply and they died. So when he was born, he was already missing his entire small intestine and most of his large intestine. The doctors swept him away to surgery, but there really wasn't anything that they could do. He's waiting for an intestinal transplant, and that's the only way that we have any hope of him weaning away from TPN. Until then, that will be what sustains him for the rest of his life. When we adopted him, he was just this tiny little baby, and he had tubes and wires everywhere. His doctors made it sound so hopeless. His life could only last a year or two, and they were really concerned that he wouldn't have any quality of life. But Patrick has shown us that there is so much that you can enjoy in life, and that tubes don't have to be what stops you. He is doing so well, and we are so very blessed.
I'm gonna walk 100 miles. I'm gonna whistle all the while. If that's what it takes to make me smile, I'm gonna walk 100 miles. I'm gonna run right up this hill, summer sky or winter chill. If I gotta take a break, I will, but I'm gonna run right up this hill.
He lives life like a normal 4-year-old. He has his little backpack that keeps him confined more than 4-year-olds, but nothing stops him. He still runs and plays and acts like everyone else.
I'm gonna go and take a chance. I'm gonna learn to ballet dance, learn a little something about romance. I'm gonna go and take a chance. I'm gonna live a crazy dream, impossible as it may seem. Doesn't matter what the future brings, I'm gonna live a crazy dream.
He's the most active kid you'll ever meet. He loves slides, he loves playgrounds, he loves cars. We're able to put his TPN in a backpack, his pumps in a backpack. And other than the length of tubing that connects him to me, he's completely free. He's probably one of the most fun boys you could be around. He loves life. He loves his sister. He's always playing. He's so busy all the time.
Don't try it. I'm warning you that I won't buy it. All the failure is fleeting. I trust it always has its meaning.
He's definitely had a good attitude about it. He's just part of who he is, and it's become part of who our family is.
He's just defied the odds. If it weren't for HPN, we wouldn't have Patrick with us, period. He couldn't survive, I don't think, a day without him.
I want people to realize how important TPN is, that without TPN, I wouldn't have my son.